Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here, back with some more Overwatch news. Got a couple of things to talk about today. The first though is the possibility that Blizzard is in fact handing out automatic bans. This is going to be based on the idea of a threshold system. I want to dive into what we're talking about here and give you some of my thoughts as well. So first off, the reason I'm discussing this is because recently with the announcement of an increase to punishment, not only an increase in duration but also severity to punishment to players who get reported for trolling or doing things that Blizzard finds inappropriate, I guess, in the game. There's a real concern from a lot of the player base, especially those out there who play what I would just call unpopular heroes. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. People like Torbjorn are a great example of a hero that a lot of the community has a negative opinion about, and sometimes if you play that hero, you might be reported. So this idea that Blizzard's going to be punishing people more harshly and for an extended duration has people who like to play those unpopular heroes a bit concerned. To add to the concern is the fear that there might be an automatic banning system, and thanks to some evidence that was sent in to me by a viewer, this might actually be the case. Now, out of respect for their privacy, I'm going to be sure to remove any details about their name or anything like that, but I'd like to show you what they sent me and why this could be of great concern. So the situation is this. This player was playing Torbjorn. It's someone that he plays quite often, and after being reported, it appears like he was immediately banned and kicked from a match. So he then reached out to customer support to try to figure out what was going on and ended up speaking with Game Master Oni Kifu on Blizzard's live chatting service. The player questions the ban, mentioning being kicked immediately after a report was sent, which would imply with how fast the ban happened that it was not reviewed. And this is something that Blizzard claims to try to sort of stave off concerns of people like this who might play unpopular heroes, that if they get reported a ton from people who just don't like their hero choices, they're just going to be auto banned. And that is what appears to have happened here. So Oni Kifu, the game master, investigates the issue to try to see what happened, and then later comes back saying that he cannot find evidence of the player being AFK, which appears to be what the report claimed was happening, even though since he wasn't AFK, clearly the report wasn't for that reason and was probably just because he was playing Torbjorn. And then Oni Kifu lifts the suspension. Now, when the player asks why the suspension system is automatic, this is where things get interesting. Game Master Oni Kifu replies with this: "The system is automatic because the dev team made it that way. The reason behind it is unknown to us here in customer support." The player then got a follow-up email from Oni Kifu confirming that there was no evidence of the reported offense, and so the suspension had been overturned, which again would be further evidence that the suspension was applied automatically and not reviewed, as Blizzard claims all of these suspensions are. Now, there is one major potential problem with everything that we're reporting here, and that problem is that Photoshop exists. This could all be fake, although it would be a rather elaborate ruse. There is certainly a possibility this conversation never happened. Maybe it is entirely photoshopped, you know? The text that's within the chat bubbles could just be replaced with something else. This is not even that hard to do and is certainly a possibility, but again, that would be quite an elaborate ruse, and I don't believe that is what is happening here. What I do believe is that Blizzard does have some sort of an automatic suspension system under certain cases, maybe for certain types of reports like AFK, or maybe just due to the fact that there is, you can only imagine the sheer volume of reports that they get in a game that has a player base of what, some 30 million players. They certainly don't have the manpower. It's almost impossible that they have the manpower to individually review any one of these. They probably review things that might be questionable based on the volume of reports, the frequency of reports, and then also just the type of reports. And then, however, there might be a segment of their system that will issue automatic bans if someone just reaches a certain threshold, because they must be thinking, well, there's no way that this person isn't guilty of something, so let's issue out the ban because we can't review all of the reports on our 30 million player base. It's just impossible. And if that is in fact the case, then there is true concern for people who play unpopular heroes that if they're constantly getting reported, they might end up getting hit with some of these suspensions. So if all of this is in fact true and the evidence that I showed you isn't fabricated, then Blizzard does likely have some sort of an automatic banning system, and that is a concern, especially if they're going to be increasing the severity of punishments and the duration suspension of punishments for people who get reported. Now, it is also quite possible that for the smaller suspensions, say suspensions that are only for a couple of hours or for a day, it is possible that they don't review those. But if they are planning to suspend an account indefinitely, ban them and make it so that they can never use their account again, it is likely that they will manually review those. But if you get a ton of reports, say the threshold is 100 reports or 50 reports or whatever it may be, you might end up with a short-term suspension. But those harder suspensions, the full-on bans, those are probably reviewed. Either way, it's going to be concerning because nobody wants to get suspended for any amount of time just because they get a lot of reports for playing heroes that are unpopular. But again, it is certainly possible that that might actually be the case. So it's just something to keep in mind. Next up, I want to just quickly mention that you guys already know this by now, but the new patch 1.13 is out, which adds Doomfist, several nice buffs for Zarya, Reaper, Reinhardt, and McCree, along with the new and improved loot box system. Now, in a video yesterday, I covered all of the buffs and all of the additions that are of note in this latest patch. Go ahead and check out that video. And then finally, before I wrap up for today, I just wanted to let you guys know, I don't think I've mentioned this in my videos, but I am actually away on a trip. I'm in Europe currently. I'm going to be visiting Germany and France for the next few weeks. We've got family here. We're going to see some sights and stuff. So my video schedule has been a little weird. It's a little more difficult to make videos as I'm just running off of my laptop. Certainly still possible, as you've seen videos over the past few days, and you will see videos in the coming weeks. I've got a bunch of plans, things that I've been thinking about for the past couple of months now, of some new, more fun videos that I'd like to be doing, aside from just the news-focused, update-focused stuff on Overwatch. I'd like to do some more, maybe gameplay, commentary, and just having a good time. I like making those videos that are more fun and funny and that take a lot of editing work. I really enjoy that process, and that's something that I plan to start doing more here on the channel. So if you see some of that stuff in the coming weeks, don't be terribly surprised. And please check it out, because I think that is honestly some of my best content, and it's a lot of fun to work on. So yeah, appreciate your patience. Thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a good one, and until next time, I'll see you later.